fixing this Frigidaire washing machine. It's a front loader washing machine, and the problem is a broken spring. And actually that's one of the problems. The other problem is both of the suspension shock absorbers have broken. So this whole thing is just like barely hanging on here, so it wasn't running anymore. It was knocking. The symptoms were that when it spun, it would knock and it would hit the edge of the washing machine, I guess. But finally, both shock absorbers and the spring broke. It was so bad in the spin mode that, of course, and you can see obviously that that's not going to work very well. So I'm going to replace the spring first, the top spring. The other spring over here is okay. This spring is just broken right here. And I'm going to replace it with a new one. I've got a new one. So in order to do that, I have to remove this and take the top off, because I watched another YouTube video that showed exactly how to do this. So I'm going to see what I can do here. I've got the back. Alright, to get the top of this washing machine off the top cover, I had to remove 2 screws here and 2 screws here after taking the back off, and then I had to slide this forward because it's just hooked in the front, and then I just lift it up. You should be able to take it off. Just have a couple wires to disconnect. Well, I got the top off fairly easily. I just had to connect these 2 groups of wires from these plugs. They pulled out easy, so that was no problem. And now I'm going to replace this spring with the new one. So open that up. I was able to get this spring on, if you can see that there. I took this little bracket off here, and I hooked this spring on the bottom part here, with this part which was hanging. And then I had to come around here and actually lift up and pull the end of the spring all the way up through this hole and hook it onto this spot here where there's a little hole under here. And it took a little strength to do that. I thought I was going to have to get help to lift this whole thing up, but I was able to lift it just by grabbing the spring, pulling it up, putting it in there. So that worked. Okay, so to replace these shock absorbers on the bottom, I had to pull these, these plastic bolt things out of here. And in order to do that, I took a long socket, this is a 1/2 inch, and I had to push that to close this thing, and then it pulls this out with a plier out of there. And I'll do that on this other one here too, because both of them are broken. I don't know if I can reach this one without removing that other part, but I'll try. Yeah, I can. Let's see if I get it the rest of it. Yeah, so there it is. So using this long socket, which is a 1/2 inch, I was able to just push that, to push this little thing in, and then you just take a pliers and pull from the other side. I think if you didn't know how to do that, you might be wondering how in the heck to get that thing out of there. So that's the answer to that. Okay, now I'll proceed to, I guess I have to do that with the top as well. So I'll get that done and then I'll show you the rest. Okay, so I removed this shock absorber. It was broken here, so this had broken. And the new one looks like this. It looks a little bit different, but it'll work. I only saw one pin with this one, with the new one, but I'm not sure why they didn't send 2, but I could use an old one. So I'm going to put, I've already got the other one sitting here, so I'm going to put that one in. It's kind of in place here. Can't really see it from there at all, so I can zoom in with that so you can see what I mean. So that's the the shock absorber right there. You can kind of see it. It's a little dark, but that's it. And you can see over here the other one is still in there. It's hanging there. Just haven't taken it out yet, but I'm going to take that out and replace that one too. Okay. Alright, so in another YouTube video I saw that, you know, you have to use, they say you need to use this 1/2 inch long socket to push this thing, to pull that out. But I wasn't able to get this socket back behind this one side here because there's other stuff in the way. So all I did was, it's just this one little peg. If you look really close here, one little peg. All I had to do was push that in with my thumb, and then I grabbed with a plier and pulled it right out. So you don't necessarily need this. It works pretty well, but if you can't get this in there because of space, you can just use your finger or your thumb if you can get it there, which you should be able to do. The other thing I discovered is that when you're putting these things back in, so you still have one left to do here. You've got to put them in through the hole, both in the socket and in the mount. And what I discovered is that if I took probably an 18-inch or so piece of 2x2 and just put it in there and tap it with a hammer, now I'm putting it on the end of this thing, on the end of the pin, because it was really hard to push it through. It was hard to get to, and it hurt my finger when I tried to push it. I wasn't able to get it through. So I just took this 2x2 and hammer, and that really works well. So this is the answer for that, that's for sure. So I hope that tip will help you. Okay then, I finished repairing the Frigidaire Gallery series washing machine. Both of these shock absorbers were broken, and one of the springs, there's two of them as well, but one of the springs was broken. So the inside tumbler was just not really supported anymore, so it wouldn't spin. All I needed to fix this was a screwdriver. Actually, I used a drill with a screwdriver bit on it that sped things up a lot. Pliers. I did use this 1/2 inch long socket, although I wouldn't have needed it if I knew if I knew that there was only one notch on these. I could have just pushed it with my thumb and then pulled the other end out with the plier. That's what the plier was for. But I would say this probably does make it easier if you can get it to work. And then for putting these things back in, when I had to put these in and I had to put this thing back through again, I used a 2x2 and tapped it in with a hammer, because that really worked well, because I couldn't really get at it very good and get it in a good position to push it in. So I think this is a front-loading washer, and I think this this should work again. This should be just fine. We've had it for about 11 years and it's worked pretty well. This is the only thing that happened to it. And I thought we were going to probably just have to throw it away, but when I pulled the back off, I saw that it was pretty easy to fix, actually. So this again is Frigidaire, and I'll zoom in a little closer so you can get a better look at it. So if you have a similar washing machine, better focus here. All right, and then the back is the part comes off. That's where you have to do most of the work. I did have to take the top off as well. Okay. One more thing about this. I got the parts at repairclinic.com, so I'm doing a little advertisement for them, I guess. But I thought that their website was really easy to use, and it was pretty easy to figure out what parts you needed and to order them. So.